So we're going to make a magic ring, and to do that, you're going to take your 2 fingers and you're going to leave like a little bit of a white tail, and then you're going to wrap the yarn around your fingers 2 times. So this is the first time, this is the second time. And then with your thumb, you're going to hold on to the remaining yarn tail. And now we're going to take our hook and we're going to go underneath these 2, drag this down, and twist like this. And then you're going to yarn over. To yarn over, I simply put my hook underneath the yarn and then I'll pull through. There's your magic ring. And now you can let go of this. So now we need to make 8 single crochets in a magic ring. To make a single crochet, you're going to go underneath these 2 again, yarn over by putting your hook underneath the working yarn tail, and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, 1, 2. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through both. So that's 1 single crochet. Again, go underneath, yarn over, pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, and pull through. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now you can remove your 2 fingers from the hole. And now you're going to put your thumb in the middle of the hole. So you're going to pull on this yarn tail downwards until you see one of these 2 tightens on your thumb. You're going to feel it as well. So whichever one tightens, for me it's the one on the left, but that doesn't mean that yours is going to be on the left. So you're going to pull on the one on the left to tighten the one on the right. Like this, look, it's tightened. And now again, we're going to pull once more on this yarn tail to tighten the one on the left. And there you go. There's our magic ring. And now I like to put a stitch marker at the end of each round. So once I complete whatever the instructions tell me to do, I simply put it in the latest stitch. Like this. And if you can't tell which is the latest stitch, I like to loosen the tension that's on my hook, and then you see the loop that's on my hook, you're going to see which stitch is closest to it. So it's this one for me. And then to tighten it again, you're going to pull on the working yarn. So now we are going to do 8 increases. To do an increase, you're going to go into the first stitch. So it might be hard to see, but it's this one right here. So you're going to go and do a single crochet. So remember, a single crochet is going through the stitch, yarning over and pulling through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So that's your first single crochet. Now an increase is 2 single crochets in a magic ring. And so you're going to go back into that same stitch that we just went into. So a little trick is that you see that little line here? That's around where your stitch, like your previous stitch, is gonna be. So I like to poke my hook inside somewhere. So see, I'm poking it here, somewhere here, and it went through. And then yarning over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So that's my single crochet. And now we're going to do another increase. So go into the next stitch, which is this one. Yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. Now again, this is the line. So you know the stitch, the previous stitch is somewhere here. So I poked my hook. Now I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and make a single crochet. And yeah, so you're just gonna keep doing that. So I'm going into the next stitch and I'm gonna do increase, then going into the next stitch and I'm gonna do an increase, then into the next stitch, increase, to the next stitch, increase. Finally, once you reach your stitch marker, you're going to remove it. Do what the instructions say. So in this case, it's 1 increase. So you're going to go and do the increase. And then once you're done, you're going to take your stitch marker and put it in the new place, which is the last stitch that we created. So for me, it's this one right here. And there you go. So for this round, we're going to be doing 1 single crochet and then 1 increase. So what that means is that in the first stitch, which is this one, we're going to do 1 single crochet. In the next stitch, which is a completely different stitch, right? You're going to do an increase. And that's it. So now repeat the pattern. So go into the next stitch and do 1 single crochet. Go into the next stitch and do 1 increase. Go into the next stitch and do 1 single crochet. Go into the next stitch and do 1 increase. And you're going to keep doing that till you reach the stitch marker. Remove it, and you're going to do an increase in that stitch that had the stitch marker and then put it back in. For this round, we're just going to keep doing the same thing essentially, but increasing the single crochets by 1. So we're going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 increase. So go into the first stitch and do 1 single crochet. Go into that next stitch and do 1 single crochet. So that's 2 single crochets that we've done so far. And then go into the third stitch and do 1 increase. And that's all you're gonna do. So you're gonna keep repeating that till the stitch marker. So 1, 2, increase, and then 1, 2, increase. So for this round, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then 1 increase. So 1 single crochet in the first stitch, 1 single crochet in another stitch, and then 1 single crochet in another stitch, and then 1 increase in the fourth stitch. And you're gonna keep repeating that. So 1, 1, 1, increase. So now we're going to do 4 single crochets and then 1 increase. So 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets, 3, 4, and then the fifth stitch, we're going to do 1 increase. So now for this round, we're going to do 5 single crochets in 5 different stitches, and then we're going to do 1 increase, and keep repeating that till the end. Now, for 8 rounds, we're just going to be doing 1 single crochet in each stitch. So in this stitch, we're just going to do 1 single crochet, and then in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet, and so on. In the next stitch, 1 single crochet until we reach the stitch marker, and then we're going to remove it, do the single crochet in the stitch that had the stitch marker, and then that completes 1 round, and we're going to do that 8 times. So you're going to reach the stitch marker 8 times. So now we are going to start to decrease. So we're going to be doing 5 single crochets and then 1 decrease. So first, do your 5 single crochets in your 5 different stitches. And now we're going to decrease. So to do a decrease, you're going to go into the front loop of the first stitch. So the front loop is okay, so this is the stitch. There's like 2 parts to it. I'm trying to separate like this. You see the metal part? Yeah. So you're going to go in this part of the stitch, not this part. So take your hook and remove the back part of the stitch and only take the front loop, and then go into the next stitch and take the front loop again, so the stitch that's facing us, right? And then yarn over and pull through 2 loops. You have now 2 loops in your hook. Yarn over and pull through the remaining 2. And now again, do 5 single crochets. And now go into the front loop of the first stitch, go into the front loop of the second stitch, yarn over and pull through 2. You have 2 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through 2. And you're gonna do that till you reach the stitch mark. Now that we know how to decrease, the pattern is gonna be simple. So we're gonna do this round 4 single crochets and then 1 decrease. And then the next round, we're going to do 3 single crochets and then 1 decrease. And then the next round is gonna be 2 single crochets and 1 decrease, and so on. So you're gonna keep decreasing the single crochets by 1 till you reach 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease, and you're gonna do that, like 1 single crochet and 1 decrease all around, and then you're gonna come back. So just to clarify, for this round, we're gonna do 3 single crochets and then 1 decrease, and then for the next round, and so on, we're gonna decrease by 1. So then it's going to be 2 single crochets and 1 decrease, and then 1 single crochet and 1 decrease, and then you're going to come back, right? So after doing my 1 single crochet and then 1 decrease, I'm going to fasten off. So go into the next stitch as if you're starting a new round, and then yarn over and pull through, and then pull through the loop that's on your hook as well. So now you should only have 1 loop on your hook, and then leave a long tail. To make the leg, we're going to do 6 single crochets in a magic ring, and now we are going to increase 6 times. So now for 2 rounds, we're just going to do 12 single crochets all around, and then fasten off. And you're going to repeat the same steps to make the second leg, but for the second leg, you're not going to fasten off. So for this leg, fasten off and cut your yarn. For the second leg, don't fasten off and come back. So just like I said, I made the second leg and I didn't fasten off. And now we're going to chain 2. So to chain anything, you're just going to take your yarn and you're going to wrap it around your hook, and then with your other hand, you're going to pull through like this. And then wrap the yarn around your hook and pull through. So that's 2. And since the stitch marker was here, we're going to remove it, and now we are going to place it in the chain 2. So simply place it in the second chain, not the first one. And there you go. So now we are going to connect the legs. So to connect the legs, I'm going to go into, you see this is where we ended. So I'm going to go into this stitch. And now I'm going to yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through. So that's our first single crochet. And now we're going to do 11 more single crochets for a total of 12 on the first leg. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then you see this tail, we are going to push it to the other side, and then we are going to do our last single crochet here, 12. And then now you're going to go into the 2 chains that we made. So this is the first one. You know it because it has the stitch marker. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do a single crochet. So that's 1, and then I'm going to go into the next stitch, which is this one, and I'm going to do the second single crochet. And then I'm going to go into the second leg and do my 12 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And now we have to do again the 2 single crochets in the chains. So here's my first single crochet, and then remove the stitch marker and do it in the second single crochet in the second chain, and that's it. You've connected the leg. So before we start this round, we're going to switch to yellow or whatever color you want. So I'm going to loosen the tension that's on my hook by pulling it upwards and then removing my hook. And now you see that like knot here? I'm trying to pick it up here. So you're going to put your hook in that, and then you're going to take your secondary color and you're going to make a loop like this, and then you're going to pull through, and that's it. You've connected it. So now you can pull on this, and yeah, you've officially connected it. So now we are going to be doing 3 single crochets and then 1 increase. So you're going to go and do 3 single crochets and then 1 increase in yellow. So then after you do a couple stitches, you're going to cut your white yarn tail because it's no longer needed. So now for 4 rounds, you're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch. So now we are going to be doing 14 single crochets and 1 decrease 2 times. And then in the last 3 stitches, we are going to do 3 single crochets. So sometimes there may be a hole between your legs. So what I do is that I take the yarn that's attached from the second leg, and it's basically like somewhere here, right? It's like here. And then I just go like this. And I keep doing that. You can even take your leg out like that to see it better. And then you just keep doing that. So keep going through like this. Like this. So now for 2 rounds, we're just gonna be doing 1 single crochet in each stitch and then fasten off and leave a very long tail. So to make the ruffles part of the dress, we are going to first pinpoint where we want it. So I'm gonna put it here, right? So this is the first round where we switched colors to yellow, and this is the part where we did 3 single crochets and then 1 increase. And then for 4 rounds, we did 1 single crochet all around. So this is the first round of single crochets. This is the second round. And so I'm gonna put it in the second round of single crochets here. And so to do that, I'm gonna make a slip knot. So to do a slip knot, you're going to make a loop like this on your finger, and then you're going to flip it to the opposite side like this. And you see that tail in the middle, you're going to pull on it up like that. And there you go. So now I'm going to tie my slip knot here, and I'm going to pull it through. You can put it wherever you want, just as long as it's in the second rows of single crochets all around. And then I'm going to make 2 single crochets, 2 chains. So again, just do 1, 2, like that. And now we are going to be working basically in the lines here, the lines all around. So I'm going to do a double crochet. So to do a double crochet, you're going to yarn over, insert your hook. I'm gonna insert it here, right? Because I said the lines. And I'm going to wrap the yarn around my hook, pull through. And then I have 3 loops on my hook. It doesn't show, but I do have 3 loops here. 1, 2, 3. Yarn over and pull through 2. You have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So that's 1 double crochet, and now we are going to do a double crochet increase. So you're going to go back into that same stitch. You're going to do a double crochet. So you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Then you're going to go into the next stitch, yarn over first before you do a double crochet increase, and go into the next stitch and do your double crochet increase. And go back in. And so on. You're gonna keep doing that till you reach the opposite side. We reach the beginning again, and so I'm going to go in here in the chain 2, and I'm going to slip stitch and then cut my yarn and leave a long tail so that I can weave it in and pull through. To make the arms, I made 8 single crochets in a magic ring, and now for 7 rounds, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch and then fasten off by slip stitch. So to make the ears, we made 4 single crochets in a magic ring, and now we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet, 1 increase, so for a total of 2 times. For the next round, we're going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 3 times instead of 2 times. Now do 2 single crochets, 1 increase, 3 times. Now do 3 single crochets, 1 increase, 3 times. Now make 4 single crochets and then 1 increase 3 times, and then fasten off by slip stitching. To make the bow, I made a slip knot and then I chained 21, and now starting from the second chain from our hook. So this is the first chain, the closest chain to our loop that's on our hook. So the second chain is this one, and we are going to go inside and do a single crochet like we've been doing, so like this. And now we are going to go down the chain line. So you're going to be doing a single crochet in each one for a total of 20 single crochets. So once you do your 20 single crochets, you're going to chain one and then turn your work like this and then do another 20 single crochets. Once you reach the end, you're going to chain one again and turn your work and do another 20 single crochets down across. Now that you reach the end, you're going to fold your work like this. And then you're going to go into the opposite side and do a slip stitch, sorry. So go in and pull through both. And then now you're going to go into both sides, so this side and this side, and go into any stitch, and do another slip stitch, and then go into the next and do another slip stitch, and go into the next until you reach the end of yours. So I made 4 slip stitches, and then you can leave a very long tail. So now I thread my needle with the yarn tail that we left, the very long tail, right? And now we are going to go into the top parts of the stitch, the topmost part of the stitch, and just keep going until you reach the center of your bow. So like you look and see, I still need to do one more where I go through the top. There you go, I'm at the center. And now you're just going to tie or wrap your yarn around the bow and pull it hard so that it makes a shape like this. Sorry, it's not focusing. So to make the eyes, I just used black felt paper and I cut 2 circles, and then I used yellow and I also cut 1 circle, and then I glued them together. Now we're going to make the whiskers, and to do that I took black thread or yarn and I thread it, and now we are going to make the whiskers. So to do that, you're going to go here, right? You can go wherever you want, but I'm going to go near the eye, near the bottom of the eye, and then pull through, and then I'm going to make a line like this, and then I'm going to go in and poke it out like that, and that's the first whisker. And then I'm going to go in like this, and you're gonna keep repeating that. So in and poke it out, and then go up, angle it, in, out, and here's our first set of whiskers. So to sew anything on, you simply put it wherever you want. So I'm gonna put the ear here towards the corner of the head, and then I'm going to take a stitch from the head, or a couple stitches from the head, it doesn't matter, and then a stitch from the ear, and then a couple stitches from the head, and then a stitch from the ear, and then a couple stitches from the head, then a stitch from the ear, and then just repeat that all around until you've reached back to the starting point. So then a couple stitches from the head, and then a stitch from the ear. Keep doing that. Till you reach the starting point, and it's secure now. So to sew the head onto the body, we're gonna do the same thing that we did with the ears, and we're simply going to take a stitch from the head or a couple stitches from the head, it doesn't matter. And then a stitch from the body. And obviously make sure that it's facing you before you sew it on. Like, you see the head is facing me and it's aligned with the body. So then you're gonna keep doing that all around until you reach the starting point. So you're gonna do a couple stitches from the body, from the head, sorry. And then a stitch from the body. And then a couple stitches from the head. And then a stitch from the body. And you're gonna keep doing that till you reach the starting point. And once it's secured, you can hide it in the body. Guys, so this is the final product. She turned out super cute. As always, let me know down below if you have any questions or any requests for patterns to make. And yeah, make sure to subscribe and like.